Let's talk about time. I mean, really talk about it. What if everything you thought you knew was just a little off? What if time isn't something you move through, but something that you actually are? It's a wild, brain bending idea from the philosopher Martin Heidegger. And today, we're going to try to unpack it. You know the standard picture, right? We all think of time as this straight line, this river we're all floating down. The past is way back there, set in stone. The future is up ahead, somewhere in the fog. And we're stuck in this tiny little boat called the present, just chugging along. Seems like basic common sense. Well, Heidegger basically tells us to take that entire picture and just throw it out. He says, what if time isn't some external container that we're all rattling around inside of? What if instead it's the very structure, the engine of our existence itself? What if the past, present, and future are the things that actually make you, you? Okay, so to even begin to wrap our heads around this, we first need to get a handle on one of Heidegger's most famous terms, Dasein. Now, it's a German word that literally means something like being there, and trust me, it is the absolute key to unlocking this whole idea. So what's the big deal with Dasein? Well, Heidegger wants us to see this huge difference between how we exist and how, say, a rock exists. A rock is just there. It's present at hand, as he calls it. A rock isn't worried about its future. It's not reflecting on its past. Its own being doesn't matter to it. But you're totally different. As Dasein, your own existence is a constant issue for you. You care about who you are, what you've done, and who you're going to become. And that's the core of it right there. This is what makes us Dasein. We are the only kind of being that is constantly dealing with its own existence. We're always tangled up with our own possibilities, our own future. We're not static objects. We are these dynamic, ongoing processes of becoming. Now, this constant concern we have for ourselves, it isn't just some vague, anxious feeling. Heidegger gives it a specific name. He calls it care. And he says this care has a very precise three-part structure. And this, my friends, is where it gets really interesting, because that three-part structure looks an awful lot like time. Just think about how you exist right now. At every single moment, you're stretched across these three dimensions. You're always projecting yourself into some future possibility. You're always carrying a past that you were just sort of thrown into without your consent. And you're always absorbed in the present world of things and people around you. You aren't one then the other. You are all three, all at once. So, okay, if this three-part structure is the basic blueprint of being human, that leads to a pretty big question, right? How do we live it? Heidegger says there are fundamentally two ways we can inhabit this temporal structure. He calls them the inauthentic and the authentic ways of being. Now, the default mode, the one we're in most of the time, is what he calls inauthentic. And it's super important to know this doesn't mean you're being phony or fake. It just means our average, everyday way of being. You know, when we're just going with the flow, distracted by a million little things, getting lost in the crowd, kind of just letting life happen to us. But there's another way, an alternative, and that's the authentic mode. This is when we consciously step away from the noise of the crowd, when we face our own unique existence head on, and we take ownership of our lives and our possibilities with a kind of clear-eyed resolve. It's a much more deliberate, self-aware way to be. And this table right here lays it all out beautifully. You can see how each dimension of time gets lived differently. So look at the future. In our everyday, inauthentic mode, we're just awaiting what comes next. But in the authentic mode, we anticipate our possibilities. We're the past. We can forget who we are by just conforming, or we can actively own our past. And the present? Well, it can either be a blur of distraction, or it can become what Heidegger calls a moment of vision, a powerful point of clarity and action. Let's dig into that everyday, inauthentic mode a bit more. The future is awaiting. You're basically on the sidelines, waiting to see what life throws at you. The past is forgetting. This is when you kind of lose touch with yourself and just do what they say you should do, what the anonymous crowd does. And the present becomes this whirlwind of just getting lost in tasks, gossip, and idle curiosity, totally absorbed by the now. But now contrast that with the authentic mode. The future isn't about waiting, it's about anticipation, actively choosing and striding toward your own deepest potential. The past becomes repetition. Now, this doesn't mean doing the same things over. It means consciously coming back to and taking ownership of the person your past has shaped you to be. And the present? It transforms into the moment of vision, where in a flash of total clarity, you see your situation for what it is and you act decisively.
Okay, we've got all the pieces on the board now. Dasein, care, authenticity. Let's put it all together for the big reveal, the final, powerful conclusion that Heidegger has been leading us to this whole time.
I know. This looks like a mouthful. Heidegger was not known for his easy beach reads, but this one sentence has everything in it. Temporality temporalizes itself as a future which makes present in the process of having been. Okay, let's pull that apart. He says it all starts from the future. Our orientation to the future is what creates our present moment, and it does this while carrying our entire past, our having been, along with it.
So what does all that boil down to? Here it is, the big takeaway. Time is not a line of separate now moments. It is a single, unified, dynamic structure, and our very existence is that structure, this constant reaching toward a future which lights up our present, all of it shaped by our past. Time isn't the box we live inside. Time is the very engine of our being. We don't exist in time, we are time. And that leaves us with a pretty challenging thought, doesn't it? If our being is this structure of time, then how are we living it? Are we just passively awaiting whatever comes next, lost in the distractions of the present, forgetting who we really are? Or are we resolutely anticipating our possibilities, owning our past, and seizing our own unique moment of vision? That's a question only you can answer.